Hi guys, and welcome back to another DrAce video, and today we're going to be playing RiMS Racing once more. Now we're here in Nürburgring. We're doing some time trials in today's video. I did mention earlier on, maybe just a couple of hours ago in the first impressions video, that I would actually do some time trials on a couple of tracks. So I've chosen the Nürburgring first on board the Honda CBR 1000RR, and I gotta say I really like Nürburgring. I like this bike as well, and something I didn't really mention in the first impressions video of how different the bikes feel. This Honda feels much more easier to maneuver around than the BMW and the Kawasaki I used a while ago, and then we're going to be using the Yamaha later on, and I've got to say even that one feels a little bit different as well in the sense of manoeuvrability and the nimbleness of the Yamaha. But in my first impressions video, of course, as mentioned, there was a few downfalls to it and also some positives, and this for me is the most probably positive part. Being on the track on your own, changing the tyres, changing the settings, trying to find out how you can get some extra tenths to shave off your lap time. Now I did mention a first impressions video. I did this earlier on, about 4 PM today, so if you want to check out that video, check out the link in the description down below. But as far as the game goes itself, I am enjoying my time with it, and I'm getting better and better with the bikes. They do feel very different. There are a few minor flaws, and one of them being Nürburgring's right-hander, which you're going to see in a moment's time. This right-hander here coming up, I believe it's turn 9 or turn 10, for some strange reason, I had this same issue in the early access build. You can't turn the motorcycle into that corner. You have to reduce a lot of speed to make that corner. It feels like something just blocking you, and the rider will only get around 30 to 45% lean angle. He won't go the full 50% or beyond. It's just a strange one just for that corner. There's a couple of other corners I've tried as well that have that little bit of a mistake, but for some reason that one is the one that's more prevalent when playing in Nürburgring. So unfortunately I messed up and I went straight on the brakes into turn 1, so I did reset and go back to it. Now I don't know whether I've just made a mistake, or I might be completely wrong, or I might be correct, but I haven't found a way to actually just quickly launch yourself onto the track. You have to go through the pit and go through all the pit lane entrance and then do a whole flying lap before you can start your actual official lap. And for me, and knowing that I'm going to be doing so many laps in time trial mode, I would like to see that feature be removed, or added the feature to quickly gun back onto the bike and straight back onto the track, because unfortunately I don't have all the time in the world, and those little laps there that I could be spending actually doing official proper timing laps is time effectively wasted. I guess it's not, because of course you're getting used to the motorcycle, you're getting used to the track, but that is a feature I would like to change. However, I may be wrong, it's just that I might not have looked hard enough and not found the actual feature to dive onto the bike, so to speak. As far as the settings go for the handling, etc., I am on the hardest settings there is available. Everything is on the more realistic and professional side, opposed to having the assists turned on. The electronics in the bottom right hand corner of your screen there, I've got TCS on 2, anti-wheelie 3, and engine brake on 3 as well. So just to reiterate as well guys, this is the full version of RiMS Racing. I have covered the early access build, and you can check out the differences between those two on my channel. You can check out the early access builds, and then you can check out the videos such as these to see what's changed, and maybe to either make up your mind on what you want to do in the sense of purchasing. But in the sense of purchasing, I will be doing a full review on RiMS Racing. I'm still going to give it some time yet. I don't want to make my judgments too early. I do believe I should give this game a proper good thrashing before I decide if it's good or not. But as mentioned already, this is my favourite part of RiMS Racing, just jumping on the motorcycle, completely clear track, changing the settings, changing the tyres, and just working out what is best for you. So of course you do have the MSC, the dashboard, so you can see all the parts that are being effective. So far, even in a normal race with about 10 laps, I haven't seen much changes on the MSC. Maybe slightly to the tyres have been a bit heavily worn, but as far as the actual components go, those don't really get wore down as much as I expected. I did expect quite a lot of wear on the brakes and a few other parts as well, since you're racing so hard, but at the end of the Grand Prix it didn't even seem that bad. So that's a good sign in the sense of, because otherwise you're going to have to constantly keep on replacing all these parts every other race, which is going to get pretty expensive in the term of credits, because of course you do have to earn credits throughout the career mode and races as well. So in RiMS racing, there isn't just Grand Prix circuits such as Nürburgring, Silverstone, Suzuka, Canadian Tire Grand Prix, Fuji Speedway, etc. You do actually have road circuits as well. These are point-to-point races where you start at one part of the map and then work your way all the way down to the other side. I'm yet to try those on time trial, but I have got a video of the Atlantic Road on board the Ducati Panigale V4R, so if you're more into the road circuits, check out that video as well. I mean, that is the early access build, so you will be able to compare the two differences between this version of the game, the full version, and of course the early access. Well, this is going to be pretty much it for the Nürburgring. We've got a couple more corners to navigate. On a decent lap here ahead of the Ghost. Another little criticism, I really don't like the way the Ghost looks. I think a more transparent Ghost would be a little bit better. It's a bit of annoying, that one. And also he doesn't actually do anything on the bike, he sort of sits still and the bike just moves, if that makes sense. He's not replicating an actual rider moving around. We're going into the final corner for the Hyundai N corner. Right hand side will go, scraping those knees on the floor, touching the foot pegs on the floor, sparks are flying, full acceleration, and we'll get across the line to improve on another lap time. So we're moving across now to a track that certainly caught my attention when I first played the early access build, and that was the circuit Zolder. I have never seen this track before, and I've never played it until RiMS Racing, so I have that to owe for RiMS Racing. I actually really like this track. I think it's fantastic. It's got a lot of good visual effects. There's some nice things to look at around the track, such as the wind turbines, the solar panels to your right hand side there. And this track pretty much has everything. You've got those long winding corners, you've got chicanes, you've got those super tight hairpins. It's a pretty great track, I must say. I am enjoying it. And I've decided to jump on board the Yamaha R1. And I think the combination between Circuit Zolder and the Yamaha R1 is fantastic. A nimble motorcycle to be chucking around these tight corners. Brilliant. I've got to say, Circuit Zolder is well optimised for RiMS Racing. It feels good. It feels very enjoyable. And I guess that's probably because it's its own track. And what I mean by that is because it's not covered in other motorbike games, so therefore you only know with your experience from this game. Whereas if you're going to be comparing Nürburgring GP, Silverstone, Suzuka, you're probably going to be comparing it to Ride 4. So the feeling here though is good. I do like this track and I will come back to this many times, and at the end here you can always hear the crowd cheering as well. Hopefully you can hear it now, but unfortunately they might not cheer. They cheered. they definitely cheered. It's just that there was one man just sort of doing a private test, but they still cheered nonetheless. Full acceleration now, get across the line, and that will be our very first lap on the full build of RiMS Racing here in the Circuit Zolder. Now I'm not going to make the same mistake as I did last time. I had a little bit of a minor faux pas where I just forgot how tight that corner is. I mean, you can see on the graphic it's practically a 90 degrees corner as we now go into the very right-hander and continue to hold on to the right-hand side. Get tight to the apex here, but not too tight. Lift the bike up to about 20 degrees and then bring on the corner again, just touching the grass once more, but no penalty was given, thank you very much. I do like that idea if it's sort of investigating it first, and then you're a little bit tense to think, oh no, are they actually going to give me a penalty or not? And then finally they make their decision. I also like the image of the Ghost on the left-hand side of the screen. I don't know if you've seen that. Take a look in the second sector time, you'll see it any moment now. There's a little ghost on the other DrAce thingy. I like that. I love that. I think it's a little cute feature that they've added. I really do like the addition of that ghost. It's like a Pac-Man ghost, isn't it? I love it. So now going on to the right-hand side once more. Right-hand side again, just continuing to hold on to the right-hand side. Bring on the bike, bring it to the left-hand side going over the hill. Be careful not to accelerate too much there because you might end up wheeling as we go hard on the brakes for the very tight right-hander for this hairpin. And now we got chicane time. Lovely little kink to the left, to the right. Beautifully done. And now we'll get hard on the brakes in a moment's time, using that sort of billboard on the right-hand side for a guide there as we break it down, going into the left-hand side, to the right-hand side for the Jackie Ickbock, and then go for it, full acceleration across the line, and this will be another improvement in the Circuit Zolder. So now moving on back to Britain for me. I love Silverstone, of course, so I had to save this for the best till last. I'm also on board the Aprilia RSV4, one of the best bikes ever made as well. I do love the way this bike looks, and I also thought it was especially fitting because if you guys watch my MotoGP 21 career mode, I do use Aprilia, and we're not doing too bad actually. One victory to our name in the season. Of course, the Catalonia test has just finished, and then it'll be time for the Saxon Ring. So if you haven't subscribed already and you enjoy a lot of bike content and you enjoy my dulcet tones, I would advise for you to hit that subscribe button and join the Aces, as something's happened to the Ghost there. I don't know exactly what's happened to the Ghost there, but he's just sort of standing there right in the middle just before Stowe. So there you go, that's what the Ghost is doing on this one, as we'll now go hard on the brakes with a very difficult left-hander for Vale. Nice and tight to the apex, coming out of the corner and then chuck it into the right-hand side. Using the rumble strip, but I've got to be honest with you guys, be very careful with the rumble strip in this game. They are the most bizarre things ever. You could be going full acceleration on them, you seem fine, and then all of a sudden it'll just chuck you over as if your bike's just fallen over. Just do be careful when touching the rumble strips. My nerves are through the roof when I'm on a fast lap and I touch the rumble strip in this game. The rumble strips are quite difficult to use in MotoGP, but these ones are difficult but also unpredictable. Don't usually find them to be that bad in some of the tighter corners, but when you touch them on a fast sort of corner, the bike just loses it. So I guess be very careful if you are going to be touching the rumble strips. If you're like me, you tend to use all of the track. You go really wide into the sort of on the exits of corners to try and get out every single little tenth or hundredth of a thousandth of a second you can get, and therefore be very careful coming out of the exits of some of these corners. But as far as the Aprilia goes, feels great. Again, feels a little bit different to what we used with the Yamaha and the Honda, and of course the BMW the other day. I have used all of the bikes, and all of the bikes do feel different in their own way, and all of them are fun to use. There isn't a bike I'm going to say, oh, there's no way I want to use that again. I quite like using them all, so I'll definitely take advantage of all of the bikes. Now, bearing in mind it is only 8 bikes, but the bikes that are here are pretty good. I mean, the selection is the best bikes on the market, so they're all pretty competitive and very, very enjoyable to use in my opinion. I would say RiMS Racing has a bit of a learning curve, but if you're already familiar with the likes of Ride 4, MotoGP, or maybe the TT Isle of Man game, you'll probably pick this up with no issue. It's just a case of getting used to the different size and weight of the bike. The bikes feel very, very heavy and very difficult to maneuver sometimes, but when you're into that rhythm, you got the groove going and you make sure you're in low gears and you make sure that also your speeds are low when you're turning, it seems to be okay, to be honest with you. But most of the time, it's the brakes are a little bit unpredictable, but we'll get into that all in another video. I'll cover it all. I'll give you some sort of braking tips and sort of tutorials as well. But for the most part, the next video to look forward to is the full detailed review on RiMS Racing, so definitely stay tuned for that one, and stay ace as always. But now on to the final lap of today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it so far. If you have, make sure to hit that like button, it helps out the channel quite a lot. But for the time being, the Silverstone track has been quite lovingly recreated. I do like a lot of the features around this track, and having been to Silverstone before, being able to spot a few things is certainly a nice touch. But here on board the Aprilia, I'll definitely be doing this again. I do aim to do some time trial challenges like we did with Ride 4 with the weekly challenges, for example. So if you are going to pick up RiMS Racing, you're interested in that, let me know in the comment section down below. But we are now onto the Wellington Straight with only a few more corners to go. Hard on the brakes now for the left-hander going into Brooklands, a little bit wide, but I'm sure we can recover on the exit there. Bringing in nice and tight for the right-hander of Luffield. Ran it a little bit too wide there, a little bit too deep. As we go onto the right-hand side once again, nice and tight to the apex, chucking it out the final corner. And this will be an improvement, but by how much? It's going to be quite an improvement. Across the line we will go, and it is a 2:03.544. So guys, I really hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you've enjoyed watching some of these lap times and my impressions so far on RiMS Racing. I will definitely be covering this game in more detail very, very soon, so make sure you subscribe so you can get all the latest updates from myself and you can see all the stuff from RiMS Racing. But that is it from me, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Like, comment and subscribe if you did, and hit the notification bell to be alerted to every single DrAce upload. Thanks for watching, guys, and ciao for now. Oh hi, didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite sate your appetite, then why not watch some more DrAce content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single DrAce video.